Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you some stories related to Russia and Ukraine. So let's get started with the first one. The first one is about this Ukrainian company, Naftogaz. So as you know, they recently defaulted in their payments of Eurobond borrowings. So they were supposed to pay them, and they, according to their own sources, they had asked the authorities, the Ukrainian authorities, to authorize the payments to the investors, but the government didn't provide the authorization. So according to them, they have enough funds in the bank accounts to make a full repayment, but the government didn't allow them to do the payments. They were supposed to pay 335 million euros, and there was a second Eurobond that was requiring to pay 45 million euros. So the thing is that it is a complicated story here. Naftogaz says that it is estimated to require about 5 billion of financing to purchase between 3 billion and 5 billion cubic meters of natural gas to be pumped into storage before the end of October. This is according to the deputy head of the parliament's tax committee, Yaroslav Shelesniak. So apparently they need money, and they need this money to buy more gas to pump in storage for the winter, apparently. But the whole story is complex. I will tell you how it is. Additionally, the government, there are some unconfirmed information. They say that the government could not allow state-owned Naftogaz to pay foreign creditors because the government recently asked for some kind of delay for the payment of the sovereign debt. I think it was 2 years, and I don't know exactly how is this related to the Naftogaz, but it seems like because of that they didn't want to do it. But the whole story is so strange because there is the recent news that also Ukraine recently asked the United States to provide liquefied natural gas, or LNG, and because apparently they don't have money to pay for it, they asked to pay for the gas under the Lend-Lease agreement that they are using for weapons currently. I don't know if that will go ahead or not, but somehow that tells the story that there is a lot of problems with the economy, both for Naftogaz and for the Ukrainian state. Additionally, we have this additional this story that's Yulia Tymoshenko, she's part of the parliament in Ukraine. She claims that the company is about to embezzle money from the treasury, from the government. According to her, the lawmakers were about to pass several bills that will grant Naftogaz additional funding, the funding that we just discussed in the previous article, for gas purchases, and one of them will grant the company compensation from the budget with about $4 billion, and this is for the opportunity to buy 6 billion cubic meters of natural gas, the same gas that we discussed in the previous article. But they said the government planned to use international financial aid provided to Ukraine by Western nations for this compensation. But additionally, Naftogaz also sought to request another $4 billion from the budget to increase its authorized share capital and then use the money to buy the gas. So it's a complex scheme, but what she's saying, this woman Timoshenko is saying that there is no need for this gas. Ukraine already produces and stores enough gas for the winter and might even get up to 7 billion excessive cubic meters of gas during the upcoming heating session. So according to her, it's not necessary, and she says that they are still planning to steal $7 billion, $7.18 billion, to send them to offshore accounts. And she's claiming that there should be some kind of investigation. So this is probably another corruption story related to Ukraine, which, as you know, is not a surprise. There is systemic corruption in Ukraine. Before this whole conflict with Russia started, that was one of the main reasons why Ukraine could not achieve candidate status in their intention to join the European Union, because they have a very entrenched corruption, and they didn't do anything to solve it. Probably, if anything, became even worse. So that's the current situation as far as gas goes. In another news, there's this declaration that Russia is going to stop working with the International Space Station after 2024. Moscow will continue to fulfill its obligations for now and send crews to the International Space Station. But after that, after 2024, they will focus on creating a national orbital station. This comes from Roscosmos, the chief of Roscosmos, Yuri Borisov, and they say that the decision is made practically. So what we're seeing is one more consequence of the current conflict in Ukraine. It will stop. Russia will stop cooperation with International Space Station. Okay, so different news. Now we have from the New York Times this report that says that the U.S. is offering to swap a Russian arms dealer for Greiner and Whelan. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said he will speak to his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov for the first time in months about a substantial proposal to free the Americans. So the interesting here is how each side see the thing. For example, from the New York Times, they say that Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer, and they see that Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan are two Americans imprisoned in Russia, but the State Department says they were wrongfully detained. So they think they are innocent, and they are just probably political manipulations from Russia, So that's the main thing, and they say that Mr. Whelan was a former U.S. Marine who was sentenced in Russia in 2020 for 16 years to 16 years in prison on espionage charges. And as you know, the basketball star Griner was detained because she was found with some kind of a vaping device that had some marijuana on it, and this is of course illegal in Russia, but later she declared that she didn't have any intentions to break the law or something like that. So that's the main thing. For example, there is this paragraph here in the New York Times who says that in an interview last month, the judge who sentenced Mr. Bout, Chira A. Sheindlin, said that Mr. Bout was not a terrorist. In my opinion, he was a businessman. She added that she felt the mandatory 25-year sentence she was forced to impose was too high, that a trade for Mr. Bout for Mr. Greiner, Miss Greiner, and Mr. Whelan will be reasonable. So that's kind of the opinion. You see, is not all what it seems. Anyway, I think this will go through. Probably there is some reports that even from the Russian side they will be willing to do it. I found this article on RIA Novosti where the State Duma commented on the possible exchange of Bout, and they say that Russian businessman Viktor Bout has been waiting for help from the Russian Federation for many years. If there's an opportunity to achieve his release, then this chance should be used. It's not symmetry that is important, but concern for the fate of our compatriot Oleg Morozov, deputy of the State Duma, said. Viktor Bout has been illegally convicted and has been waiting for help from the Russian state for many years. So you see, what is the opinion? The Russian says that he's a businessman, and apparently even the judge who sentenced him thought he was a businessman. So maybe he was really illegally convicted, as the Russians claim. And why they say that there is not symmetry in the exchange, because is one man that is going to be released to Russia in exchange for 2 Americans. So that's why it is not symmetrical, because it's 2 for 1. So they don't seem to care too much, apparently. So it seems like because the US authorities agreed to release Russian businessman Viktor Bout in exchange for the Americans Paul Whelan, who is serving a 16-year sentence for espionage. This is the Russian side opinion. And Brittany Griner, who is on trial on charges of drug smuggling. So from the Russian side, they say it's drug smuggling and espionage. So the opinion is different from his side. So that's why it's interesting to see both sides. One piece from the New York Times, and then from RIA Novosti, which is reporting the opinion of the Russians. Okay, so in another news, I found this one and I thought it was interesting to report it, because probably a lot of people don't know about it, or if maybe it was not so mainstream. The actor and film producer Steven Seagal, he was given Russian citizenship. He was given this in 2016, so already 6 years ago. And that was because President Vladimir Putin signed a decree granting Russian citizenship to him. Apparently, Seagal, his grandfather was born in one of the regions of Russia, and then he moved to the US in the first half of the 20th century. And Steven Seagal went to Russia and he traveled to Kalmykia, Tuva, and Yakutia. Later, he was declared a special representative of the Foreign Ministry for Humanitarian Relations between Russia and the United States. So this happened in 2018, and he has been fulfilling his duties in this regard. When the start of the conflict, he said that he couldn't take any sides, because he thought, the conflict was between basically 2 brother states, both Ukraine and Russia. And also he was questioned whether he will give up his Russian citizenship, and he refused. He says he's not going to do that. So I think he's having a very professional behavior. I think very objective, considering that he has Russian heritage. I don't see why he will want to give up his passport or citizenship. He's not like probably people will criticize him for different reasons, but I don't see any wrongdoing on this particular thing. So that is interesting. It's just some interesting story. And the last one is, as you know, there are a lot of videos about the different Western weapons that have been captured by by Russia. So I'm going to show you a video of the weapons that they captured, so you can see. Okay, so that was the video, but what was interesting is that they found all these different weapons, both the Swedish NLAWs, German-made anti-tank mines, American Javelin, all different kinds of weapons that they found, even machine guns, rocket launchers, for grenade launchers. So it is known that a lot of the howitzers, the M777 howitzers, have been recently found in Ukraine when they retreat. So there is some reports from RIA Novosti that I found that apparently, according to some Ukrainian soldiers who were captured, they say that they cannot repair them. So they give them the howitzers, but they cannot repair them, so that's why they abandon them when they withdraw, because they are no longer useful for them. So that is kind of a confirmation of my opinion that I said that all these weapon systems they provide to Ukraine is a logistical problem for the Ukrainian army, because it's not just providing them, it's not just the operators, it's also the people that are supposed to give them maintenance. So if you don't have enough people to do this, then of course the weapon system will stop functioning, especially complex equipments like M777, probably also HIMARS. So that's kind of what I wanted to say for now. And I want to remind you of the opportunity to support my work as content creator. In the description of each episode, I include information about different platforms you can use to support me with donations, and you can also support my work by sharing my content on social media and subscribing. So I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode.